Hello! Merry Christmas.
Hello.
From your counselors here at the clinic. We just kind of wanted to have fun, a little section on navigating the holidays with food or caution, holiday eating type of thing. And so we just kind of wanted to do a brief video on getting through those holidays, because a lot of times that can be tough for a lot of people, especially when, you know, traditionally we go to family dinners and have big meals and that kind of thing. And when you're doing this, when you're detoxing and that kind of thing, how to get through that. So that's kind of, I just wanted to say a quick hi, and we're going to shoot this video. Hopefully it will help somebody out there.
Yeah.
So do you guys have anything you want to add to this point?
Well, I'm going to try to survive the entire holiday season on just raw all the way through. I'm going to try to shoot for about 95% fruit all the way from, well, started about 4 days ago, all the way up until after January, and we'll just see how far it takes. So
good for you.
I have the family going with me too, so we're going to talk about some recipes a little bit later coming up in the video of how to survive the holidays and have fun with it.
Yes. Patty?
Oh, we'll probably try to stay raw as well. Fortunately, we just moved to Florida, so our families aren't down here yet. So we're doing it solo, my partner and I. And it's easy to stay raw when we don't have those influences. But this video is for those of you that are going to those family events and you've got the peer pressure. And I've had that year after year where I would go always bringing something that I could eat.
Yes.
A raw dish, something that was yummy, and then also something that proves to those that we love that this protocol that we're on, this healing regimen, is not deprivation, but it is something to celebrate, and you're celebrating your health first and foremost when you stick with your protocol.
Yes. That's kind of like, we kind of had, I had written down a couple of things, kind of like the 10 bullet points maybe to navigating through the holidays. And the first one we kind of want to talk about is perspective. It's all in how you look at things. And the one thing that you cannot do is stop viewing this as a restrictive diet. I know to most it is a restrictive diet, but when you look at it as I can't have this or I can't have that, throughout the day, throughout the week, the month, that's a lot of negatives that you're embracing there, and a lot of challenges to when you are eating. Remember, your cells are little people. They have thoughts, they have feelings, they have emotions, and they have memories, just like you do. And when you constantly use that word can't, I can't have that piece of bread, I can't have that steak, I can't have this, you are solidifying the negative within you, and it actually gives you that perspective. When you do look at fruit, it takes the excitement and the energy of the fruit down a little bit, because your cells are focused on what you can't have instead of what is good for it and what is healthy. So just kind of wanted to share a little bit there about the perspective of things and looking at how you look at this and how you view it.
Yeah. Personally, too, one of the big reasons for myself, I'm trying to push through the holidays, because this is the hardest time of the year. Here in Florida, I think we're a little more blessed because our cold weather is
Hot.
maybe one day
We
it's
are,
like 40
I think
degrees.
we're a balmy 73 today.
Yeah, it's like it's actually almost too hot for the sweater. You know?
Yeah.
So it's tough for people out there where it's negative 30 outside, and then also you have to drink smoothies, and especially now that the berries are not really in or very bad quality, you have to add frozen berries.
Yeah.
So having a frozen drink while it's freezing outside is just very difficult. So
Yeah.
kind of wanted to, the temperature here is working with us here, but just wanted to see how it is. Push through the season. There's personal goals that I have too. The family's on board. There's a lot of positive things working for me too, and I hope that's the case for a lot of people out there too. But it's all mindset. You hit a point where you're done. You kind of like with my significant other too. We kind of just threw out everything out of the house pretty much, and then we just went shopping, and we haven't been, like Marcie was saying, it hasn't been like a focus on what we can't have. It's almost like food's not really important anymore. It's just like, oh, I'm a little hungry, let's just eat something to keep me satiated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool recipes I kind of want to try out during Christmas
For
time.
those that can, remove the temptations. Get the stuff out of the refrigerator. Get the stuff out of the cupboards that you can't have. That kind of thing. For those that are in households where you still have to cook for the family and you can't really remove all that stuff, at least replace them with healthier options. And try and get the family involved in some of this. They know that you're doing this for a reason. Sit down and have a conversation about how can you help, get through this time. And maybe you switch from, the potatoes to the sweet potatoes. Maybe you switch from milk to coconut milk, or make some healthier swaps if you cannot get rid of everything that you would normally have. Remember, you climb a mountain one step at a time. Don't look at how am I going to get through New Year's. Take it one day at a time. Let's get through today. Let's get through tomorrow. Okay?
One day at a time.
Yep. You climb a mountain one step at a time, but when you're coming down that mountain, you have to come down one step at a time also, or you start that roll and eventually it turns into a fall. And sometimes for some people that can be a nasty fall and they can have a hard time recovering from that. So remember, one day at a time.
And don't start on Monday, because Monday's never going to come.
Yeah. Yeah. That procrastination can be a huge issue with some people. So just start. I remember we had went on a houseboat cruise one time. My husband's whole family and I. It was like a 78-foot houseboat, had dual slides out the back. It had a 15-person hot tub on the top, and we went down to Kentucky to Lake Cumberland, and we found this little cove type thing where we backed, and imagine backing a 78-foot boat into this cove, but it was like our own little isolated. We tied off on both sides. We had a trampoline that we had fun on. But my brother-in-law and my husband and I noticed this nice cliff in the back. And we decided one day that it would be fun to go up there and do a little cliff jumping. I had never done this before. To my knowledge, I know my husband had never done this before, and I don't think my brother-in-law had. We tested to make sure that the water was okay and that we weren't going to encounter anything. We got up to the top. It was about a 60, 70-foot drop.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, the drop, the view from up there is far different from the view down here because it looks like such a big drop. And I got to the edge of that thing, and you want to talk about knees knocking, teeth chattering, just total fear, because I'd never done anything like this before. And I realized, and I was like, Lord, once I take that step, this is either stupid or it's exhilarating, and once I take that step, whichever one it is in your hands. But it was about that step, because once you take that step, there's no going back then.
Yeah.
And so just do that. Don't procrastinate. Take that step. And let me tell you, it was literally one of the most exhilarating, fearful things that I've ever done, but I would never regret doing it.
Aww.
So, anything?
That's good.
Step 2, presentation. Just have fun with it. No matter what you're doing, making the foods, even if it's just in a smoothie. Do you know, I do not drink my fresh squeezed grape juice out of a regular glass. I put it in a wine glass. I've taken numerous pictures of my wine glass over the lake and things like that, and just make it about presentation. There's a reason why restaurants, especially the expensive ones, you get just a little amount of food, but the way they present it makes you feel like, so make it about presentation. Make it about having fun.
Yeah. Kind of going back to what we were talking about, the whole thing surviving the holidays, presentation, I think it's really just important to just have fun, like you were saying. Have fun with it and just look for new recipes and things like this, because that helps. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to a handful of recipes that we were looking at earlier this week, and here's some really good ones, really interesting things, not too labor intensive, not too time consuming, just little spins on it that just sound interesting. And I remember, some of my favorite clients that we've ever dealt with are the ones that come back with new recipes and, oh, look at this. They can tell they're excited about it. They come back with a stack of recipes of like, oh, look, I tried this. Like, for instance, I had a gentleman, one of the first people I ever worked with, he was a 79-year-old man, and he was he's a young kid at heart. And he had so much fun with it. He would just make, like watermelon. He would just put it through a blender, put it in a popsicle mold, and that way you could have watermelon popsicles. I mean, just really simple stuff. It doesn't sound that crazy, but those type of little things will kind of help you get through some of the old things you might be missing. Is trying to make like mock recipes and things like that, and again, having fun with its perspective.
One thing that in researching and writing down what we wanted to say today, I come across something that I cannot wait. I love coconut water, and I probably drink at least 16 to 32 ounces of coconut water a day. And we're on the topic of presentation, and so I saw that it was a beautiful recipe. In fact, I can even post a picture of it, but it was melon ball ice cubes, and they had taken watermelon and cantaloupe and honeydew, and they had scooped them with a melon ball, and they had froze them, and then they had put them in their water in this really pretty glass.
Nice.
I mean, it just makes it look like you're getting a treat. And traditionally, why do we eat? I mean, we eat for fuel, and that's the key as to why we eat. But in our world, we have made it into tradition. We have made it into rewards. We have made it into treats and things like that. And food should never be that. You don't stop in if your gas tank's at 3/4 of a tank. You're not driving along and, oh, I think I'm going to give my car a treat today. Let's stop in and top it off with a little bit of fuel. That's not what you do. We don't eat for the emotional, even though that's what we've turned it into. We eat for the fuel of it,
right,
so that we can live life. And I know a lot of people are saying, I love to eat, I love food, and that's true. Many of us do. It's time to find another hobby. Go out there and figure out something that I'm doing right now. I am painting my granddaughter on canvas. Aww. And the painting, I think I've mentioned this before, painting is absolutely wonderful. It's therapeutic. I love it. But it gets your mind off things. When you are bored, when you don't have a lot to think about other than your health and food and things like that, that's when you want to consume things that you shouldn't. I've had people that come in, I'm busy, I don't have time to think about eating, they're on the other end of the spectrum. They have to set timers to remind themselves, got to eat something right now. So just try and remember, life is about balance. Everything is about balance. Even in the health and even in detoxing, everything is about balance. We want to get all the mucus out of our body, but yet we need some mucus. That's why we have the mucous membranes. We want to get rid of all the acid, but yet we need some acid within the body. It's all about that balance. It's the excess just as much as it is the lack that is a problem.
Yeah, kind of speaking on your point with the painting too, it just seems too, like personally, and speaking with a lot of other people, that food, there's a strong, of course, addiction, almost like an emotional connection to the food. I mean, it's steeped in our cultures and things like this. And just like with art, any form of art, it's something that as an artist you have to work at. You have to work at every single day, or you have to work and give time into it to get better at it. And it's kind of the same thing with food. You have to develop a certain amount of emotional disconnect. And as soon as you set your mind to something, it might not come like that, but each time, if you think about the amount of meals or times that you're eating in a day, and of thousands or millions of other options of bad foods that you could be eating, you're in a sense, you're getting better each time you're making a decision to not eat foods that are going to be detrimental to your health.
Right.
So again, the detachment to food comes with time, kind of like the detachment to certain emotions, spiritual work too. It's detachment, things that Dr. Morse talks about too. It's not something that you're going to learn in one day. It's something that you work lifetimes over to try to build that level of discipline to do. But you get it.
Right.
It's just time.
Yeah.
Which can be annoying, but
well,
it is what it is.
And I think, too, a lot of times when people develop a certain set of symptoms and they're trying to heal their body, the purpose of that is so that you can get to the point where you don't feel like you have a body anymore. And your body is helping you experience this world, this life. So keep that as your focus as you're going through the holidays, that I just have to push through this so that I can actually enjoy life again. And food, as tasty as it is not pure happiness or joy.
Right.
You can't find it there. And in fact, what food does oftentimes, especially the heavier foods, is it suppresses our emotions. So there's always an emotional detox when we're on a strict protocol. But that's good to detox that along with the physical ailments.
Learning to release and get rid of the things that hold you back and hinder you, whether that's food, whether that's emotions, whether that's material things. Learning to let go and just be is kind of be content. Be not that you don't want better or more for yourself. So many people misunderstand that word content. Oh, I have to just be content where I'm at. You always want to strive for better. You always want to strive for healthier. You always want to strive for those things. But you don't want that to consume you. You want to live in this moment, not think about the next moment and what you may be missing out on. Because then you miss out on this moment. And so, don't think about the food that you crave for an hour or so. Think about the health that you want and desire for a lifetime.
Exactly.
And just one last point. Whenever you clear out your sinuses, whenever you clear out pretty much any type of congestion up here in the head area, multiple people have said too, and I've experienced it myself, that your sense of taste, your sense of smell improves. So certain foods that in the past tasted really good might not taste as good before because they have higher amounts of sodium in there, higher amounts of sugar, and high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
So it's just that your taste will kind of adjust with what you're doing as well. And then setting a goal, whether it's a health goal or a goal for fitness or a goal for for whatever activity you're doing, can also setting goals is another really big important thing too.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. Don't let yourself, number 3, don't let yourself get hungry. When you get hungry, your willpower tends to hide. It tends to take a back seat, so to speak. Hunger drives. It's remember, hunger, starvation, your body wants to, its survival instinct kicks in. The hungrier you get, the more you want to do this. And so don't let yourself, if you're wrapping presents and Christmas shopping and outside, don't be cautious of that, especially in town and shopping. And I had somebody say the other day, I was so hungry that I just wanted to stop at a drive-through. And there was what is the one that goodness, it's hard to look and feel like $1 million when you're eating off the dollar menu.
Good point.
So, just a kind of little funny thing there. But, set a timer if you have to. Regularly take breaks. Remember, people are going on this kick right now where you eat at certain times. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Just specific meals. Many are just doing breakfast and dinner. And they're like, we don't want to eat, and the grazing aspect of things. But go back to, I always take everything back to common sense and how we were either first created or how we were when we were babies. When we were babies, we cried, we ate, we poop, we sleep. We cry, we eat, we poop, we sleep every couple of hours. And then all of a sudden we're off of mom's breast and it's big meals 3 times a day or big meals 2 times a day. When you are doing that, your digestive system gets taxed because it takes longer to digest. You want those meals that are going to be easily digested so that your body can move on to cleaning and healing and energy where it needs to go. Number 4, let's talk about emotions.
Yes.
Emotions are huge, especially around holidays, not just Christmas, but Easter and, things like that. And food is the most abused anxiety drug out there.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. People use food to numb pain. People use food to numb grief, to numb loneliness. We use food to numb so many different emotions. And try and figure out, sit down and write things out. Why am I wanting this food? What does this food do for me? If you can get to the root of why I'm craving that fry or why I'm craving that donut, if you can figure out the motion behind it, you can, by leaps and bounds, jump ahead in your detoxification, not just emotionally and spiritually, but physically as well. Because it's the emotions that tend to drive the physical. It's not the physical that drives the emotions.
Yeah. I mean, it might sound very simple, but, like something when I know that my emotions are getting down, just even reading some inspirational quotes. I know it sounds fairly cheesy, but, it helps, as crazy as it sounds, or as simple as it sounds. Even just reading some inspirational quotes, can help immensely.
Well, and a lot of times, I read one study that the most common reason people become addicted to anything is because they feel a loss of connection in their world.
Yes.
So reach out to people that you haven't reached out to before, or if it's family, see if you can connect with them in a different way. I know sometimes emotions can be strong, especially if you're doing a protocol and your family may not agree with it, and then they see you coming to the holiday and you're bringing your green salad or your fruit plate, and they may be rolling your eyes. But, remember, you can love that person even if they don't agree with you, and focus on the positive, and focus on connecting, because that's really what the human spirit is here to do, is to connect with others and enjoy life. It's not all about food.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's fine. You go from not focusing on health, in a lot of cases, of not focusing on any health, the other pendulum swing, or other side of that pendulum, where it's nothing but health, and nothing but food, and nothing. And there has to be like some sort of balance and happy medium where you can live life, enjoy, find new hobbies, things like this, and still be focusing on your health.
Right.
I think some of these things that we were talking about earlier should prove helpful, just to maintain, like I said, a good diet, but also try to maintain it and enjoy life somewhat.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people, once they start this journey, have made the comment, I had to get rid of this friend, or I can't see that family member anymore because of this, that, and the other thing. That, sorry to say, that goes back to you. And many, you've got to find that balance to where you can reach out and you can touch and be involved in anyone's life, regardless. If they're putting too much pressure on you, if you do need to take a break for a little bit, if they're way too negative, that's one thing. But to completely get rid of friends and family and things like that because they no longer agree with your lifestyle is not healthy either. Remember, it's about balance. It's about loving others. Loving them, especially if they don't agree with you. Loving them through that process and maybe being the light to them rather than that constant negative, I don't want to be around them. They're always talking about this, that, the other thing, what's good for me, what's bad for me, what I can eat. Every single food I bring up, everything I talk about, that's going to kill you. It's just negative, it's a drain. Remember, you can be a drain on someone just as much as they can be a drain on you. So be the light. Be positive. Put your positive pants on for the day, so to speak. And just be that love and be that light, and that draw people to you, not push them away from you. And the same with others. Learn to love in a broad way, because in learning to love people that don't agree with you, it broadens your ability to reach out and love and understand others. When I lost, not that this is supposed to be fun time, but I'm just going to mention this. When I lost my second son, my husband and I lost our second son, we never realized the number of people that had lost a child because we weren't focused on that. It's not until you understand a situation that you can reach out to others and embrace them and be able to understand their perspective and where they're coming from. And for those of you that are practitioners, your base of needing to understand and be sympathetic to people rather than judgmental is going to be even more huge, because you're going to come to, I had someone I talked to the other day, colon cancer. They removed 36 inches of his colon. What was his comment to everything we talked about? I'm not sure that I want to do this. I'm not sure that I can do this. That's fine. I got to love him. My response was not, are you serious? I mean, seriously, you're looking at potential death. They're wanting to do chemo and radiation and all this stuff. They just removed 36 inches of your colon, and you're not sure you want to give up this, that, or the other thing. That can't be your response. Your response is, I planted that seed. I'm now going to come back and I'm going to check in with you. And I'm going to just pray that more people solidify and keep planting those seeds until this person's eyes continue to wake up and they're finally like, wow, you know what? I want to live life. I want to be around for my kids, my grandkids, much more than I want that glass of milk or that piece of steak or something like that. Eventually, the awareness will open their eyes. Consciousness will happen. But you have to be part of that process rather than the opposite.
Right.
So, number 5.
Yeah.
Attila had mentioned this just a little bit ago, but setting goals for yourself. In the business world, and not even in the business world, but when you want to attain something, it is a proven fact. You put your goals down on paper, and you're going to figure out, even if it's subconsciously, a way to attain that.
Yes.
Again, going back to the fact that your cells have memory and they have feelings. You write those goals down, you keep them in front of you, put them on a piece of paper somewhere, the refrigerator, the mirror somewhere. Every time you read those, that's confirmation to your body, to your cells, that this is going to happen, and subconsciously you figure out ways to make it happen.
Yeah, I fell rock climbing last year in 2015, and the surgeon, I had to have 3 surgeries to put my ankle together, and the surgeon told me I should find a new sport other than jogging, and I was an avid jogger. I had moved, though, to the Pacific Northwest to mountain climb, to climb mountains, and that kind of pushed that goal away. But I still have the goal of climbing Mount Rainier, and I'm going to do it. And I know detox gets me there closer. When I'm pure, when I did a 28-day grape fast, about a year after my injury, I was running. I could actually run enough on my ankle when I was told I couldn't do it because that acidosis was being removed. And you feel that evidence of the pain going away. So don't really think of, again, the deprivation, but think of the goal as what you can do once you are free of these symptoms, of these acids, of that lymphatic obstruction that's holding you back. Do you want to climb a mountain? Do you want to be able to play in the park with your grandkids or your children? So there's so many things that living is about, and it's not about food. And you can enjoy the people that are around you eating food, but you can also enjoy the fruit that's giving you that vibrancy and that health.
Yeah.
So keep those goals in mind. I think that's a really important point.
Yeah, well, it's that's another thing, another big driver for me too, and that's important for a lot of people to realize too, because we're starting to see it now. People who are starting to get a lot better, they're almost, I would say, 3/4 of the way there. So they're out of the worst of it. They're getting better, and believe it or not, a lot of people say that that's the most difficult time to stick to it because they had the most difficult process they had to work through their entire life, and now that the skies are clearing a little bit, it's kind of less of a reason, less of a drive. So again, goal setting is absolutely important. Personally for me too, we just started going and camping a little bit more, and just being more physically fit, having better energy. It's going to benefit you and make enjoying the outdoors a lot better. So yeah, that's a big drive for me, because in my life, my stepdad, he is a huge, like a figurehead to look at, because he's the person that's actually came from a pack a day smoking, Pepsi every single day, Burger King every single day, and then from there, right now he's doing raw diets and juice fasting, dry fasting, and things like that. So it's a big inspiration to me, and it's good to have supportive people around you. So even if you have unsupportive people around you, it's good to maybe seek out one or two. even if it's online. I mean, whatever helps you get through, you just got to get through it.
Yeah. I always remember my mom was always like, oh, you always dream way too big. You're always thinking of the next biggest and greatest thing. And can tend to sometimes be a little bit of a negative there. But to be honest, I used that. Use your struggles, use your stuff, turn around and use them. Because every time somebody told me, you can't do this or you can't do that, I was like, you want to make a bet? You want to make a bet? All right, done deal. I'm going to do this and I'm going to prove it. And I do that with my mom, too, in a lot of ways. So kind of let things, even the negative, drive you. I'm going to show you. Not in a mean way, but just okay, this isn't stopping me. So, and I know that we're talking about things like, climbing and cliff jumping and different things like that. There's a lot of you that are out there. Maybe your goal is to get up off the couch today. Maybe your goal is to get out of bed because you've been bedridden, or to get out of a wheelchair. You know what? Those are amazing goals too. You may not be looking at the mountain that you are eventually going to climb. You may be looking at the steps that you're trying to get up so that you can get upstairs instead of being, stuck downstairs. Remember, health is for everyone, and health is a treasure. Some people dig 2 feet deep and they find it. Some people have to dig 10 feet and they find it. And some have to dig a lot deeper than that just because of where they're at. And I want to talk about, I know we kind of passed emotions a little bit, but I want to talk about discouragement a little bit. I know we love, and Robert does too, the stories of leukemia gone in 8 weeks, 43 days of grapes and breast cancer gone, getting up out of the wheelchair 6-8 months later. We love those stories, and we love to share them because they're encouraging to some people, but they can also be discouraging to the person who 9 months later they're not seeing much difference. Understand, everybody comes from a different place. It depends on genetics. It depends on how your immune system, the lymphatic system, and how well it's working and functioning, the kidneys. For me, I saw no sediment, no filtration for the first 9 months that I did this. And it was 14 months before I saw it on a consistent basis. There are people that are feeling discouraged because they're not seeing much improvement. Don't focus on what you're not seeing. When I started this, I had a list of 10 things that I wanted to change. I've changed about 7 of them, and I still have a couple that have not completely gone away. I don't want to say changed because they have changed. Diabetes is number 1. But for fighting it for 40 years with insulin and taking my pancreas down and affecting my liver and affecting the insulin, affecting the kidneys and everything else like that, you know what? I still am a type 1 diabetic, but I am totally excited at the progress that I have made, and I refuse to focus on those who are, well, why are you still a diabetic? I'm not going to go there. One day I will not be a diabetic. I know that in my heart. I know that in my soul. And regardless of whether that is through miraculous healing, through the healing of the foods and the herbs, remember, herbs are nothing but food. It's all about perspective. Or whether it's the day that I leave this earth and I get the new body, the next body, I am not going to be a diabetic one day. And that is, you just have to focus on the positive. So, sorry, that was a little bit. I just want to talk to you about those that are discouraged. Don't take every thought captive. Do not focus on the can'ts. Focus on the cans. Do not focus on the I'm nots. Focus on the I ams.
Yeah.
So, we ready for the next one? Number 6, review. Review with yourself. Clients come in all the time. I'm just not feeling very well. And yet we review. I call it a progress report. We go over all the symptoms that they had the last time we talked or the very first time. This has gotten better. Oh my word, I forgot about that. I don't have that anymore. You know what? I still have that, but it's better. Mm-hmm. Review with your, constantly remember or go after your why. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, and keep a journal, because it's so easy to forget where you were when you started this. And if you go back and, like Marcie said, you remember, oh, I don't have the heartburn anymore. That's gone away. Or those achy joints. I remember when I had that, and I'm waking up and I can move my body. And
acid reflux.
it's the little things, so you may not get the big one right away, but all of the little things add up. And overall, you're on that healing path.
Yeah, I mean, even if you can fill out just your own health questionnaire, it's, I think it was, what, 8 plus pages, and it goes over all of the different things that, one can go through when different organs and different systems are being affected. So even if you don't turn it in or do anything with it, just as your own set of review, like you were saying, you can just review that every so often and see if things are improving, check for filtration, check for things like your basal temperatures, check for the healing crisis symptoms, even if it's just a mucus evacuating throughout the body through either the stool, the urine, throughout all these different nooks and crannies up in the head area, even postnasal drip. All these little small things can add up to quite a larger process.
Right. I know nobody likes to maybe some of you enjoy hearing about our healing crises and things like that, but I've been doing this on and off for about 4 years now. Studying it for 6 years, it took about 2 years to really think, this is right. In all that time, I have never seen a parasite, and yet I know that they're there. And so I've been hitting things pretty hard recently, and starting to see some things. Nobody wants to hear about it, but I'm so totally excited about it, and breaking out blisters on my body and different things like that. Your healing crises, I look at them as steps forward, leaps forward, actually. And so we have a lot of people, the number one thing to think about if you're entering into a healing crisis, and I know that this is a little off topic, but do not panic. Do not panic. Because when you panic, you allow fear to make your decisions. You allow anxiety to be the pressing point of why you do what you do. Do not panic. I'll give you 2 examples. I better not go with that. I'm going to leave those examples out because I don't have permission to share them. But trust me, there are 2 different ways to face a healing crisis. 1, deal with it. Get yourself out of your mind and understand spiritually how to get through it, emotionally how to get through it. Or 2, be in your mind, be in your emotions, and make some decisions that can really cost you.
Yeah.
So, and again, just going over why you're doing what you're doing. Maybe before that Christmas meal, sit down and decide, this is why I'm doing this. I do not want to cheat. I do not want to deviate. This is why I'm doing it. Review, review, review. No business ever moves forward or has growth without planning and brainstorming. Do that with yourself. So,
All said.
Number 7, if you're looking for a reason not to take a break, or not to what some people would call cheat. I don't like that word cheat because it makes like, if I'm not eating fruits, I'm cheating. And I don't like that word. It's kind of a negative connotation. But if you're looking for a reason not to take a break, remember the ones around you that are watching you, your family members especially. You've been sharing this diet, you've been sharing this lifestyle, you've been sharing this with those around you, and they're going to be watching you.
Yeah.
So you sneak that, they're going to be like, they may not say anything, but they're going to be like, So as Patty put it very succinctly earlier, be the example that you've been sharing with others.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 8, if you are taking a break, make it as healthy as possible. Let's have a little fun here, and we want to talk about some recipes and some diets. Many of you, you're not going to have a problem. You're going to be 100% fruit. Great. Awesome. Keep going. Run for it. For those of you that don't know if you can do that or don't want to do it, There's plenty that have already told me, I'm taking Christmas off. I'm taking New Year's off. So make it as healthy as possible. So you guys want to share some recipes or some ideas?
Yeah, there was one recipe I meant to save here on my phone. This one was one that I'm going to try this for Christmas. We're probably going to get together with some family. And I know my mom was kind of in between dry fasting, great fasting. My stepdad, he's been up doing pretty good with the raw.
I'm going to interject. I have a 2 o'clock appointment, so I have to go. Okay. Sorry.
Right.
Keep going.
We're almost finished, I promise, because I have a 2 or a 2:30 also.
So one of the ingredients was a mango avocado kind of salsa, and it was one part. And I think this is rawfoodliving.com was the source. If we can find a way to put it up on the website or some type.
We promise we have a lot of recipes, and like I said, we're running a little behind on this, but we do have some recipes, not a lot. I shouldn't say it's not like you're going to get a book of 100 different recipes, but we will figure out a way to post some recipes for just some healthier options.
Yeah, but that one sounded pretty good. I mean, there's different things, like we have a spiralizer too, so we would spiralize some zucchini, and then we had a food processor. We would process up some vine-ripened tomatoes and onions and things like that. And it was just kind of like a fun little meal. It's like a mock spaghetti type meal that we would have over at our family's house. So there's a handful of recipes we're going to be trying this holiday season.
For those who want a cooked option that's healthier, I have tried where you grate cauliflower and you grate sweet potatoes together. You steam them for a couple of minutes and add some seasonings. And the combination of the cauliflower and the sweet potatoes, number one, it's warm, it's filling, it's a little heavier. It is absolutely phenomenal, and it's far better than your stuffing or your breads or your mashed potatoes with the butter and everything. So that could be an easier take. I am actually going to make a raw vegan Bloody Mary, obviously minus the alcohol, but I have a recipe here for it that I cannot wait to try it. It sounds absolutely amazing. And so there's going to be a couple of just fun things. Put it in a fun glass and, different things like that. Put on the Christmas music. I have it's Florida, but I do have a fireplace minus the fire, minus the heat. And last night I put on Christmas music and did some decorating and just enjoyed the fire being on, and create that ambiance, create that holiday cheer, that holiday spirit. It's all about the spirit.
Yeah.
So we will load up, figure out a way. I'll talk with Shannon about loading up some of the recipes. Like I said, if you are planning on, trying to get through this with the least amount of struggles, do the best that you can. Have someone that you can get for support. If all else fails, wear a clothespin over your nose. I'm just teasing so you can't smell the smells. But real quick, number 9. What do you do if you do cheat? If you do, I used that word and I wasn't going to. If you do take a break.
Well, I would say jump right back into it. I mean, try not to beat yourself up over it. Yes. Kind of like we were just talking about the emotional detachment from food, but also on the other side of that too. Whenever you do have a cheat with it, don't dump or invest all of your emotions directly right into it. So, in that sense too, it is what it is. It's done. You can't do anything about it in the past, and then from there, just move forward. Try to plan your next meal out for tomorrow. Just instead of focusing on the negative, just jump starting. You just plan out your day for the next 2 or 3 days. Keep your mind busy a little bit, and just like you said, don't dwell on it too much, right? Because you're going to make yourself sick.
Yep.
You can't even enjoy.
Which is what you don't want.
And even the food that you did maybe enjoy, just enjoy it then.
Yeah.
It's already in your body. Try to enjoy it as much as possible, even though you might have some bad food combining, you might have some gas bloating and things like that. But it's fun little cheat, mental little break. And
the acid reflux, the gas, the bloating. Use all those as reasons not to do it. But if you're going to do it, and remember, it's not what you do occasionally, it's what you do consistently. If you take Christmas off, that's not going to erase the last 6 months of all those fruits that you did, the raw that you did. It's not. Yes, it's going to limit your detoxing for a day or two, but one thing I like to do if I have deviated, or if I have taken a break, I do 100% fruits the following day, and I'll even follow that with a juice or a water fast, or even a dry fast, and try and cleanse that, get those kidneys flowing, remove whatever may have, been eaten out of the GI tract. I usually go through and do a pretty big GI cleanse after I've, taken a day or two off. Those are all things that you can do. Fruits are your scrubbers. They clean. Remember, if you ate a lot of fat the day before, or you ate some things that you shouldn't have, grains and stuff, eat those fruits, so that fiber and the astringents clean that all out. It's all about damage control. And last but not least, number 10, just make it, like we said before, use your imagination, make it fun. Enjoy what you're doing. This is not a job. This is not a diet. This is a way of life for what should be a lot of us, most of us, to be honest with. I know my sons are the perfect examples for me. My one, he had to do load something onto the computers at work, and he actually made himself stealth mode, where he had to sneak in their office, load it on their computer, and get out before they caught him. Now, there was nothing to do with that, but he just made it fun. It's about imagination, and it's about making things fun. I remember when I was a little girl, when my mom gave me something that I didn't like to eat. Let's just use peas as an example. I remember thinking, every pea that I eat is someone's life I'm saving. Use your imagination. That's silly. It's a little kid thing, but use your imagination and make it fun. My son Dylan used to have to drive a forklift for work, and he just assumed or made it up in his mind that I've got to move these boxes for here and re-navigate this so that this, whatever, like I said, just make it fun.
Well said.
And remember, have a healthy, happy holiday Christmas season.
And you can do it.
You can. We love you guys. Like I said, we'll load up some of those recipes and, get through it. First of the year's coming, but don't focus on the first of the year right now. Focus on today. Enjoy today. Have a beautiful day.
And don't forget to wear your ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yes, ugly Christmas sweaters. I don't really have one, but I'm going to have to invest in one. We love you guys.
Take care.